Hola. Olé. My name is Marina Reyes Franco, and I am an independent curator from San Juan, Puerto Rico. We are here with Sofía Gallisá Muriente and Irene de Andrés, two of the artists that I invited to be a part of this of my residency at IFA Gallery for the Watch Your Step, Mind Your Head exhibition, which is a collaboration that started in 2015 up until now with a group of some commissioned works.
Hi, my name is Sofía Gallisá. I'm one of the artists that participated in this exhibition. One of the main things that I was interested in looking at is this notion that the tourism industry in the Caribbean was built at the same time as celluloid was invented and amateur photography. And so that really the construction of the idea of the Caribbean and how it's been exported throughout the world has always been mediated through images. So I was really looking at how those images are constructed, how certain cliches of the Caribbean have been perpetuated, and how colonialism implicates us in that process and creates agents that continue to reproduce those images. And so we were also, Irene and I and Marina have been in dialogue for the past 2 years, really thinking about tourism as another contemporary form of colonialism, and how our islands, which are these supposed tourist paradises and also these fiscal paradises, really construct and perpetuate images to entice the foreign gaze, whether that foreigner is a tourist or an investor. But the foreigner is always seen as the potential savior of our islands. And so, so we, through a lot of different mediums and different approaches to image making and working with both personal, institutional archives and also mass media, images reappropriated from the internet and from the press. We're trying to kind of trouble these notions of the Caribbean that have been exported.
My name is Irene de Andrés. I'm an artist from Ibiza, and you will find here some works of the project The Second Voyage in dialogue with the works of Sofía Gallisá. I was interested in how this Spanish heritage from the epoch of the conquerors are related to tourism nowadays. It's like how, for example, you see like the old Spanish fortress in Cartagena de Indias, in La Habana, in Puerto Rico, close to these amazing and luxurious hotels, which are, in a sense, like the fortress of our time. And I like to do this parallelism, thinking about like the evolution of traveling through the first conquerors, through the military bases, and ending up in the tour operators. It's something that you can see in, for example, in this poster, and also in the route, the second route of Christopher Columbus, that is like the same route that a lot of Europeans do to enjoy resorts in the Caribbean.
Both Puerto Rico and Ibiza, both places where tourism is really, really important. And in our case, in Puerto Rico's case, tourism is not actually the main motor of the economy, but it's the service industry. But they are related, and also it has been made, like, government entities have made us believe that tourism is the most important one. So there is an emphasis on being hospitable, on being a good host, and it kind of conditions. I mean, there are advertising campaigns that tell us how to behave with the visitor. So it has been really instilled in us, like how the country is seen, like how you are a representative of the country, even when you are not abroad, just when you are receiving people. So this is something that has always been very present in our life, and it also conditions how not only behavior, but also like a certain performance of identity, as well as it shapes public policy, and it influences how areas are developed, even the architecture that is imposed on a place.
coming from a colony, it's very clear to me, at least, that that we perpetuate these ways of looking at us, right? That we are implicated in the reproduction of these images, and that in the same way that tourism drives a way of telling history, we also consume that narrative, and we also kind of consume those ideas and end up replicating them. And so, so it's infrastructure, it's modern cities, it's, green, industrial paradise, but then also, as you'll see further along in the video, it's also huge empty beaches, right? Like the spaces for pleasure are empty and ready to be conquered, newly conquered, and the spaces for work are primed for investment. And in an overpopulated island of 3.5 million people, it's not easy to get this many shots of empty beaches as you see here.
Well, it actually freaked me out the way that these documentaries are made to present Puerto Rico as how good it is to be related to the United States. I think you see all these ideas of progress related to tourism, related to the industry, and to see these videos from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and thinking about it now, when with an economic crisis and with all the problems that Puerto Rico has, it's like this whole idea of progress is insane.
I wanted to say something else, just like in relation to the relevance of this exhibition in Berlin, or like why I proposed it for the residency project and to IFA. And it's because, well, when I was here last year, I realized that there was a controversy with the reconstruction of the city palace, and that has really triggered a lot of very interesting conversations about German colonial history and Germany's relationship to Africa and to Southeast Asia. And I also wanted to which is why I wanted to bring up the other topics. I wanted to expand the scope of what German colonial history can mean, and also this is not explicit in the exhibition, but there is a very German reason why there was an increased militarization of Puerto Rico, and it's World War II. So our strategic military position in the Caribbean, which is the farthest island to the east, the biggest island to the east of the Atlantic, was used to patrol the Atlantic Ocean in case German U-boats came close to the possessions. So that's why there was an increase since mid-1940s in U.S. military presence in the Caribbean. Also, the Americans took over a lot of British bases when they couldn't when they were also being heavily bombed in Britain. So there is a bigger connection that I would also like to explore during the rest of my residency, especially a lot of these videos. Most of these videos were created because there was an idea about Puerto Rico that had to be projected as a modern tropical place that was safe to visit, because it was a part of belongs to the U.S. Puerto Rico is not a part of; it belongs to. It's very important to know. So I think that there are more aspects that we can say that are related to both of our histories, also Berlin as a window to the democratic, at least East and West Berlin as each part of the city as a window to the different ideologies and what they represented. And Puerto Rico was also that window to Latin America, vinculated to the United States during the Cold War. So I think that there's a lot of other things that we can explore that are not explicit, but that are, sort of a base also you have to know when you look at these things, at these artworks. Thank you very much.